All right, so we're moving on to Jainism. Now, Jainism is, I would have to imagine, the first religion that we're going to look at that you might not have heard about before you took this class. Let's just go ahead and start with what the word Jainism means. Uh, it's in Sanskrit, an ancient language, and the word Jain means conqueror. This refers to the battle within the self to gain full knowledge that leads to enlightenment. So a conqueror. And so a Jina is a conqueror or the person who has achieved Jain enlightenment. And Jains are followers of the conqueror. Mahavira, you'll come across this figure in your text, is both a Jina and the founder of Jainism. So, a couple dates that you should associate with Jainism. This rough range, I'm going to put a range here, not a specific date, but 600 BCE to 400 CE. Remember, before Common Era and Common Era. So this, around 600 BCE, there were quite a few interesting things going on in the world. This was similar to the time that the Buddha, who we haven't studied yet, but we'll get to it, Siddhartha Gautama was born and lived around this time. Also, this was the same time frame as the very first philosophers in the ancient Greek tradition, around 600 BC. So 600 BCE was a time when a lot of things were happening. So just keep that in mind. But this is also the time period of the founding of Jainism. Now, it's important to note that Jainism it began as a reform movement. And what were the founders trying to reform? And it was largely a few aspects of Hinduism, and in particular, I'm thinking of the concept of the caste system in Hinduism. This created a need for how do I want to say? So Jainism and Buddhism were sort of responses to this concept of the caste system. There had to be a way toward enlightenment that didn't depend on the space you occupy in your society. And so Jainism and Buddhism are these reform movements that took place as a response. Jainism promoted asceticism. Now that means the physical denial and the mental self-discipline necessary to liberation. Another thing that Jains did, which was it could be seen as a reformation, was they abandoned sacrificial rituals in the pursuit of enlightenment for freedom from reincarnation. So we're going to take a look at a couple essential Jain teachings. And the first one that's interesting here is that there is no God or no gods in Jainism. I should say no gods. So that's interesting just at the outset. And remember one of the beginning lectures I gave in this series, I said it's hard to define what a religion is. And even if we said the belief in supernatural powers and gods, what I've said here might disqualify this as a religion according to some definitions. Nonetheless, it's a major world religion. We just have to have an open mind about what this religion brings to the table, or what sort of the main beliefs are within the religion. According to Jainism, the world is eternal, and therefore there's really no need for a divine creator. The process of karma and reincarnation works on its own. Salvation is shown by the Tirthankaras and through dedicated self-effort. Now, there are heavenly beings, according to Jains, but they're not gods. Spirits are worshipped by laity for protection and guidance, not for eternal release. Okay. One central tenet to Jainism is that the visible physical world is not an illusion. So this is different from the other religions we'll take a look at as well. But I'm going to repeat it. The visible physical world is not an illusion. It's eternal and uncreated. And it's composed of 5 eternal building blocks of reality. And those are soul, matter, space, motion, and rest. These elements are eternal, but the relationships between them change. And this is the interaction that makes the cosmos run. So I use this term cosmos. So I should say a little bit more about what the cosmos looks like for a Jain. Now there's this concept of hell. It means the lowest part, and even this concept or this lowest part can be divided into 7 layers. Each one is darker and more painful. Then there's the middle world, the concentric continents separated by seas. Humans live in 2 center continents, the only place in which souls can achieve liberation. Then there's the heavenly world, and there's 12 parts to the heavenly world, and in 2 separate layers of 12 parts. One layer for those far from liberation, and 1 layer for those who are close. Souls reincarnate from this level after a period of rest. And lastly, the last layer of the cosmos is the abode of the jinas. That's Jina, Jina. And this is the eternal home of souls who have permanently escaped the material world. Now, a couple other concepts here. Let me see how many minutes have gone by. Okay, I'm going to introduce this concept, and then we'll switch it over to the second video. So there are 2 important concepts here: jiva and ajiva. So jiva, J-I-V-A, and ajiva, A-J-I-V-A. Jiva is a soul or a living substance. Essential characteristics of jiva are consciousness, bliss, and energy. Jiva is infinite in number, either mobile or immobile. Immobile in that it inhabits tiny particles of natural elements and plants. And mobile is it inhabits bodies with 2 to 5 sense organs. So jiva is a soul or a living substance. Ajiva means non-soul or inanimate substance. Individual souls are not part of one cosmic soul. Each, as it is in some versions of Hinduism, each jiva is eternally individual. Now this concept of jiva and ajiva, we're going to pick it up again when we take a look at this concept of radical nonviolence in Jainism, which is one of the central tenets of the belief system. So we'll stop here and we'll pick it up again. We're going to pick it up by taking a look at karma and liberation before we move on.